agreement that things are to be a certain way, which is why things are the way they are, because there's a collective consciousness that agrees that this should be going on at this time, whatever this is.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
have caused that. We have created the effects and the experiences that we find ourselves in. This is nothing new. Mankind has been doing crazy stuff for the longest times, not really being aware of how powerful we truly are in creating our reality. Now, when we come, and you had mentioned, when we come to complaining, one of the sayings that I've had for years, right? Complaining only creates more stuff to complain about.
You got that right. Yes.
So we wonder why we are still in the mess that we're in. Is because we keep complaining about the mess we're in. Welcome to Eugene Holden's Academy of Self-Mastery, where transformation meets action. I'm Eugene Holden. I'm one of your guides on this journey of personal growth, mindset shifts, and deep self-awareness. Each episode, we dive into the tools, wisdom, and strategies you need to break through limitations and step into your highest potential. No fluff, no shortcuts here, just real conversations, practical insights, and a community dedicated to mastery in every area of life. So, if you're ready to unlock your power, elevate your mindset, and create a life by design, then let's get started. Welcome to Eugene Holden's Academy of Self-Mastery. Welcome to the deep end.
I want to talk today. I want to talk today about the idea of cause and effect,
Ooh,
and how we are cause to the effects that are out here. And one of the things that struck me as you were doing that beautiful prayer to lead us into this consciousness was that it is already done. There won't be another place in time. It is already done. And I was thinking about something that, well, how many people, including myself sometimes, but I want to be conscious of it, how we are experiencing, or at least in my life, in my circle of friends, I'm experiencing more complaining from people than I have ever heard. It's,
right.
and they say, oh, it's the times that we are living in, but it's all about complaining. And so gave me thought for what is causing all of this complaining, and why am I at the effect of it? And we can say it's because who we voted into office, but you did it. You voted it into office, so we are the cause to our experience. And I'm going to take this way, way back in the early 70s, before women could even get a credit card. I was getting a divorce. And what happened was I wanted to get a credit card on my own. But in those days, women could not get a credit card on their own because they had to have their significant other, sign it in. Just think about it. I mean, I'll tell you about where we were with women and our rights way
And
back
that was
then.
just in the 70s.
That was just
That's
in the
crazy.
70s. We could not get because
I
I
didn't
was
know that.
yeah, I was in 1972. I was 22 years old. And I was going through a year of separation with the then husband, and I wanted a credit card. And the company told me I had a job, I had everything, but the credit card company said you can only get this card if your husband will sign on it. So he got me a credit card. That's what I had to do. But then I decided when this divorce is final, I'm getting a credit card on my own because I want to be, and I didn't know it to be cause then. I wanted to be cause to my own experience, but I didn't know those words. So I moved to Los Angeles, and Someone tells me about this woman that's on TV, and her name is Reverend Terry Cole
Very
Whitaker.
cool, Whitaker.
Yeah, and I'm from this Baptist background, and she was just very different than what I was used to. But the words that she spoke just appealed to my heart, and I listened and I listened, and I remember I'm paraphrasing now, but I watched her every Sunday or whatever day that she was on, and the words that she spoke, they were like so resonant. And one day she said, and I'm paraphrasing this part, you get to create it the way that you want because you are cause to your experience. So, what do you want to have in your life? And I said to myself, I want to have my own credit card. I want it to be an American Express credit card. I don't want my former husband to get it for me. I want to get it on my own. And she talked about doing this visualization, and I drew a picture of the American Express credit card because something inside me knew that I wanted to be cause to my own experience. And for me, it was being a part of independent
Right, right.
living. So I guess what happened? I visualized it in. I made a colored copy of this American Express card, and then I got an application. And we didn't have online in those days. You kind of
Hmm.
had to set it in and all of that. I got this application. I put where I worked. I filled it out with my own social security number, with my own everything, because I was an independent thinker and I was going to be caused to my own experience, not some other person's. Well, lo and behold, I kept visualizing it. And one day that heart chakra just opened up, and I absolutely knew without a doubt that that American Express card was going to be coming in the mail. And it did.
Mm.
And it did. And that was my first experience about understanding what Reverend Terry said, that we are cause to our experience.
Hmm.
I was cause to that. And then through the years, I learned how that maybe we have lost sight that we are cause to our experience, and what we're all dealing with right now, there is a cause and effect in our lives. If we eat too much, we get a bellyache and we don't feel good. Well, that's an effect of, I'm making it simple here, but I believe, Eugene, it's now time on the planet to remind all of us uh, that we are cause to our experience and we experience the effect of it. So let's
Yeah.
be conscious of being, cause to our experience.
Yeah, yeah. Because, right? So let's
Yes.
because, but and it is an interesting thing. Reverend Melissa and I did a show when she was on in her week. Oh, and I was speaking about four affirmations that I had heard from Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Hmm.
And the very first affirmation, let me just go through the four, but I want to stick with that first one. The first one is, I am the creator of my destiny. My energy creates my reality. I am complete and whole. I have everything that I need, and I am one with infinite possibilities. Right? But let's go back to that first one. I am the creator of my destiny. And what we brought out on that particular show, it doesn't say, and you've heard this in this field of new thought, right? Science of mind and spirit, and of other teachings, that we are co-creators.
Hmm.
No, we are creators,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So cause in that we get to create the effect or the experience that we want to have, because the experience is the effect, right? Right?
Ooh, yeah, say that again, Eugene. Say
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
again.
So we are creators of our, or we are the cause of our effect,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
experience is just an effect, right? So Now, what's been happening collectively, oh, see, we're going to get into some really good stuff here. Collectively, there has been an agreement that things are to be a certain way, which is why things are the way they are, because there's a collective consciousness that agrees that this should be going on at this time, whatever this is.
Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
have caused that. We have created the effects and the experiences that we find ourselves in. You know, I mean, this is nothing new. Mankind has been doing crazy stuff for the longest times, you know, not really being aware of how powerful we truly are in creating our reality. Now,
Hmm.
when we come, and you had mentioned, when we come to complaining, one of the things that I've had for years, right? Complaining only creates more stuff to complain about.
You got that right. Yes.
So we wonder why we are still in the mess that we're in. It's because we keep complaining about the mess we're in. And so if we are creators and we create our reality by our thoughts and our words and our feelings, I love to always say that the feeling is so important, you know, because in complaining, God, I hate how this happens. And so
Hmm.
the energy in that, because there's a universal law, there's whatever that says your wish is my command, and it corresponds to us by responding to us, right? And it always says yes. Well, you're right. Here you go. And it creates more stuff to complain about, which is why I don't complain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love what Troy said last week. If I'm going to complain, but then also let me bring a solution,
To it. Yes. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it, looking at, complaining is like, okay, let me not complain. Some of them, I'm going to give folks who are watching this, I'm going to give you this little challenge as well, is for 1 week, no complaining.
Hmm.
Now, that
Hmm.
not only means out of your mouth, more importantly, no thinking complaints, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because we are the creators. We are the cause of our experiences. And when we talk about we are co-creators, number one, that takes the full responsibility off of us
Hmm.
because we're
Hmm.
co-creating with something else.
Hmm.
No, that doesn't work like
Hmm.
that. Because here's the thing, right? When we think about co-creation, we're co-creating with whatever we want to call it. But this whatever has created everything that there is and has given us everything that we need. Why would it need us to co-create with it? It's given us everything for us to create with.
But there's a hitch in that, Eugene, because I absolutely agree with you, but
Just
we
keep going.
don't know
Mm,
that we have been given everything.
mm,
Did our history, our family history, whether we grew up in the Dakotas like me, or you in California or Florida, our family dynamics, did we grow up knowing that the abundance of God or the abundance of the wholeness of the universe is right there, right where we are? Do we grow up knowing that?
no,
Do we
no,
grow? No,
no.
you know.
Purposely. That was purposely done.
Yeah. Well, okay, explain that.
We have been, as a people, we have been hoodwinked. We have been bamboozled, as Malcolm X would, say,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Hmm.
Because there were people way back when, in history that knew the power of thought. Leonardo da Vinci is one who knew that his thought would create what and all this other stuff. But then we get into the institutions that knew that, but then kept that part hidden. And let's teach the masses this. Let's teach them that they have to come through us to get to.
Hmm. Hmm. So they have
Right?
the control then. It's
Right.
about control.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
Now, I may get some pushback on this, and that's okay. This is simply my opinion. I believe that Yeshua Messiah was assassinated because he was teaching the people how to think for themselves.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
powers to be were like, oh no, 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 no. We can't have this. We
Hmm.
need to get rid of this one here.
Yep.
Because if the
Yep.
people really learned how much power that they really have, the people who were in control would have lost that. So now, be that as it may, it still remains true that we are the cause of our experience.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because we are creators, you have heard the saying before, right? Be careful of what you ask for.
Hmm.
And so you ask why? It's because you're going to get it. At some point, you're going to get what you're asking for. Great. Good. That being the case, Sharon, that
Hmm.
being the case, then let's not be careful of what we ask for because for me, being careful, there's a little bit of fear.
Hmm.
Like, gotta be
Hmm.
careful. So let me be aware of what I want to ask for. Let me be clear on what I want to experience and then put that out there. One of the things that I had to write down what you said with your experience of wanting to get your own credit card, you did the visualization, you did your prayer work, but then you took action.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's what's important because as scripture would say, faith without works is dead, you know,
Ah.
you know.
Hmm.
And I know that, in Science of Mind and Spirit, we hear treat and move your feet, but sometimes it's not time to move your feet. Sometimes the action is to be still. So sometimes it's treat and trust, but
Hmm.
it does take the action at some point because it's not just going to happen by me affirming it. I have to do my part too. And a part of my part is not complaining. How come this isn't happening? This is
Hmm.
taking too long.
Hmm. Hmm. I just want to speak to um, what the Academy of Self-Mastery is really about here, because you brought up a really good point. One of the things that I have learned from being on the podcast with Eugene and just knowing him, but Eugene, I'm going to speak for Eugene right here and right now as well, and I know he will agree with we too are seeking self-mastery.
Oh,
And I know that
absolutely.
this was
Mm,
born out of that divine idea that came through you for this podcast because of your own willingness to hear what spirit had to say and to have that effect out in the world. But this idea of self mastery, folks, is exactly what we're talking about right here and right now, and every time we do it, because we can take you and me and Eugene and everybody else, Troy, who's ever is listening, we can take these tools and apply them for our own self mastery so that we can function in a bigger and better way in our lives in the world.
yeah.
So there is less, well, let's start with complaining or less financial stress or less health problems, whatever it might be, because that's what self mastery is about. You
Yeah.
know, it's about, and I think way back when I'm going to piggyback on what you just said about the master. I'm going to go back to my South Dakota roots and that, that German, yeah, my father was full-blooded German, my mother was half American Indian, so I grew up in, but and those full-blooded Germans, you had to be a Baptist. That in those days, that was it. So, I got the best of two worlds with my mystical mother and, my devout Christian father. And in that German Baptist church, what I have observed was as a child was that you do it the German Baptist way, and there is no other way. But when I got home with my mom, she would say, the Great Spirit, I mean, she weaved it beautifully.
Yeah.
And so that control, that it's just not the Baptist, it's Christianity. They wanted to control it so that they could stay, way back when, stay in their power. And so I relied more entirely upon that mystical. There wasn't freedom in that Baptist church, but there was freedom in the mystical way. And I respond, to that freedom. And the Great Spirit always said, my mom always said, the Great Spirit works in circles. And what you put out comes back to you. It's going to circle back to you. So if you steal from somebody, somebody's going to steal from you. I mean, it's as simple as that. And to me, that is another way. We were talking about cause and effect, Eugene. That is just another way of saying cause and effect, isn't it?
Yeah, it
You
is.
know,
Yeah, yeah. We reap what we sow, and what we put out
mhm.
there we get back. Yeah, yeah. And I want to explain something about the self-mastery part, right?
Yeah.
And I because that self
Excuse me.
and self-mastery is spelled with the lowercase s. And so what
Yeah.
we mean by that, folks, is that lowercase s is that egoic part of us that likes to complain. It's that
Mhm.
egoic part of us that says we're not enough. It's that egoic part of us that says that we need someone to guide us. We need to have someone. What is the word? Someone to go in intermediary, right?
Mm, mhm, mhm.
That was one of my things in the 20s. Like, well, why do I have to go through Yeshua to get to Spirit? Can I just go straight through Spirit? And the pastor said, no, young Holden, you have to have faith. I'm like, well, sir, it doesn't make sense to have faith. It's hard to have faith in something that doesn't make sense. Right. So that self-mastery is about really having the courage and the willingness to look at that part of ourselves, that shadow side, if you will, that dark side, that side that goes, that nobody else hears say, God, you're not good enough. Because going back to, we are the creators of our reality, or we are the creators of our destiny. We are the cause of our effects. So when I come from a place of God, I'm just not good enough. Well, I'm creating experiences to prove me right.
Oh, wow. Yes, 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 Eugene. What a
Right?
connection.
Right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
cause and effect. I am the cause.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are in this beautiful country of the United States of America, 2025, or coming to the end of 2025. Can you believe that? Jeez.
No,
Right? My
no.
goodness. And with
Mm.
all of the stuff that's going on, right? Okay. Alrighty. So, do I like everything that's going on? No, but I love it all
Mm.
because it
Mm.
gives us the opportunity to look, especially when that little small stuff jumps up and wants to complain about stuff. I'm like, okay, all right, but that energy of complaining doesn't help. It's only
Mhm,
it's only adding fuel to that fire.
mhm,
I have
mhm,
many colleagues who talk about going out there, you can march, or you can, write to your congressperson, and all of that is good, and it's necessary. That's just not mine to do. What we are
mhm.
here to do on the Academy of Self-Mastery is to help people see and to feel and to know that we are all more powerful than what we've been taught.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then I have a question about the how to, because I'm the step girl here. I have to know the steps one, two, and three. What is the how to when you said to love, or what I heard was to love everything in our experience? What are the how-to steps to love everything in our experience? Because
Ooh-wee.
when I look at that, what you're talking about, Eugene, I don't love what's going on in the world, and I don't love what's going on with the finances or what. I don't love it.
Right.
So, what are the steps so that we can get to loving it?
There are probably quite of. a few, and to start with. And the first one that I'm going to use is, be be willing to ask myself the question, what is it about this that I don't love, right?
Mm,
Okay,
hmm.
and then I get to write that out, right, or list it out because it might be a few, and then what can I do, or who am I to be in all of this? Because it comes always comes back to self. It always comes back to self. Now, that might sound selfish, and it is with the capital S,
Ha
right?
ha. Hmm.
Right. So, but the first step is to be willing to go, God, this doesn't feel good. What is this about? And that's really the first step in learning how to love what's going on, because I'm a part of what's going on. Catch that. I'm a
Hmm.
part of what's going on. And if I'm
Yes.
complaining
Yes.
about what's going on, well, that's adding to, remember I'm saying that complaining only creates more things to complain about,
Hmm.
right? So the first step is to be willing to go, okay, what is it about this that I don't love? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to like it, right? So one of
Hmm.
the things is for me is like, okay, I don't like what's going on, but I love what's happening here because it allows me to go, okay, how do I get to show up?
So that piggybacks on what you just said, or the question that you ask is, how am I to be in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Because how we are to be in that moment is what we create next, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if I'm angry in this moment, then what's going to show up in my life is more anger.
Right. This is what I love about that one right there. Um, underneath the anger is that the heart has been broken, right?
Mm. Mhm.
Underneath the anger is love. Think about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
When you are angry at something, it's because something has hurt your heart, has broken your heart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
catch that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's why I say, okay, because we have been taught to, well, let me do this so then I can have that, then I will be happy. That's back asswards, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right?
Yep, yep.
We are to be. Who am I to be? And you've heard me say this on the show before. Who am I to be? And once I can connect with who am I to be in the situation, and it can call, and I can be called to be anything depending on what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm being called to, maybe I'm called to be in action. Maybe I'm called
Mm-hmm.
to be in silence. But whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is, and I answer that question, who am I to be in this? Once I can catch that answer, now that informs what's mine to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again, that how to, the first step is to be willing to look at self and go, okay, so what is it about this that's going on that's pushing these buttons? Why does this piss me off the way it does? This shit just ain't right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there are things going on that's just not right. However,
Mm-hmm.
my complaining about it ain't gonna help it.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Again,
And like you said, everybody has to find their own
right,
way of, yours isn't marching, but somebody else's it might
right,
be, or,
right,
Everett has to find that for them because collectively, when we're doing the right thing for, our expression, then that's what makes a whole big difference,
right.
what
Yeah,
in what we put out there. But I always return to, because when people call me and they want this magic fix. There is no magic fix to our health issues, to our finances. It all begins right here and right now. It begins right
because,
here.
because,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
not because of this. No, it's just because.
Hmm.
Be the cause of, we are being called to step more fully into who we are as an individual expression of life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And have been given everything that we need to express that. One of the things I like saying is we've been set up. They set me up. Well, yeah, life has set us up,
Mm-hmm.
right? To use, it's a beautiful thing that we are the only species on the planet that has the ability to have an opinion, to state a fact, or to seek truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Birds don't do that. Trees don't do that. Lions and tigers and bears, they don't do that. We are the
Mm-mm.
only species that have the ability, and that's just one little small part. So the self-mastery, that lowercase s, is about looking at, okay, how can I grow? How can I grow through this?
Mm-hmm.
And my first question is, okay, so what is it that is because I've been triggered here. So what's that about?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, this just isn't right. Oh, okay. So who am I to be in this that just isn't right? And then that informs what's mine to do. But the Academy of Self-Mastery is really it's about looking at that part of us that not only complains, but puts ourselves down,
Yeah.
you
Makes us
know?
less than.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not good enough to help out. Let's
Mm-hmm.
I'll let them do it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need I don't have anything to say. That's that lowercase s. So that's
Yeah.
the s that we want to master because everybody who's listening, who's watching, you have the power to change your life.
Amen. 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 Yes, yes.
You
Yes,
know,
Eugene. Yes.
and is it an easy thing? No, it's not. No,
Mm-mm.
it's not. And it takes consistent practice. People would say, God, Eugene, you make this thing sound so easy. And I have to remind them, I have to practice this every single day. Because that
Yeah.
lowercase s voice, who do you think you are? That
Mm-hmm.
voice, you can't, you don't have, people don't have it, people don't want to hear what you have to say. Like, just shut up and go sit down.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah.
And that lowercase s, there's another word that starts with S that I want to bring in here. What that lowercase s does for us, it repeatedly allows us to play small.
Mm, 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 mm-hmm.
It repeatedly, and what I have learned about, okay, so I learned it through my height. My mother, she was only 4'8". I happened to be tall. I was 5 foot and I was tall. I was tall. And so I learned through her that, being 4'8", her personality was not
Huge.
small.
Yeah,
She was laughing and she had
huge.
funny, and she could sing and dance like you wouldn't believe, which the Baptist said she was sinful, but we didn't care. We tap danced with her. I mean, there was no way in this 4'8" frame that she was in that my mother was going to play small.
Yeah.
And so I look
Mm,
at that today, and now I was tall. Now I just got measured, and I'm only 4'11" now, but I am not playing small in my world. I'm not willing to do that. Why? Because first of all, I have life and experience to know that I don't have to play small. But what I get to do, and I love how you put these two together. That what how you want to be in this situation, that informs us about the decision. I love how those two just work together so well, because how I want to be in this situation is not playing small. And not playing small means that I get to remember that I'm a magnificent child of God and I was created in the image and likeness of that. And I do not have to settle for less, nor do I have to play small. So in this situation, I'm going to show up in the largeness of who I am, of that consciousness that I know that I was born in and out of.
yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
daily choice. I
Yeah.
mean,
Not only is it a daily choice, Sharon, it's a daily practice,
yeah, ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Because it was,
so it's a daily choice to practice daily.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
You know, and
yes.
I want to go back to what you said about your mother, being 4'8", but she wasn't a small person. And that reminds me, to say this, talking about the lowercase s, that egoic self, is we've been taught that we are our bodies, and we're not.
Oh, yes,
you
yes.
know
Yep.
and the body has to look this way, the body has to be this way, it has to be no, we are so much more than that. We are so much more than
Mhm,
that. What I like to say on the spiritual tip is that we are not our bodies, we have a body. We don't have a soul, we are soul, right? And so that spirit, that soul is
mhm,
encapsulated within this body so that it can do what it's here to do, going back to purpose.
mhm,
What's your
mhm,
purpose for being here?
mhm,
And that lowercase s gets in the way of us even looking at, so why am I here?
mhm,
But here's the thing
mhm.
about that, which I love, is at some point in life, most people will ask this question, is this it?
Mhm,
Is
mhm,
there
mhm,
must be more than just this. And that's that little beautiful huge life within going, there is more. You're here for more. You're
mhm,
here for more. So that's where the Academy of Self-Mastery talks about, okay, so let me be willing to look at me and what keeps me wanting to play small.
mhm. Yeah, what is that? Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Like what is that? And then be willing to not only ask the question, more importantly, be willing to hear the answer. Oh, and just as important, be willing to do something about it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. There
Yeah.
have been times where I'm like, okay, I know what the answer is, but I'm not gonna do that.
Mm-mm.
Because I'm
Mhm.
comfortable being small.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
the
Ooh, ooh.
ego was comfortable in being small, but that which is within us, which is greater than anything outside of us, does not remain comfortable.
Mm-mm.
It will mess stuff up.
Yes.
Health,
Yeah.
relationships. It will shake stuff up to wake us up.
I was just going to say there's a direct correlation again between if we look at our lives and we see what we don't like or what we're
Mm,
complaining about somebody else's behavior or what they did or didn't do, when we see that we don't have in our lives and what we don't like, that too informs us what the next thing is. If we don't like it, then what the heaven are we going to do about changing it? What are we going to do? That informs us to say, well, I can stay here in this, place that I'm in and,
mm.
wrangle, what I was about to say, wrangle with it every day.
Right.
Or I can do something about it.
Yes.
And
Check out this point of view. Somebody does something that I don't like. What can I do about that? Or and not or and ooh, where am I doing that?
oh, ouch, ouch, ouch.
Where am I? Because sometimes they show up in our lives to show us that, oh, okay, well, I might be doing that too.
Hmm.
Ooh, ooh,
Hmm.
dang,
Hmm. Yeah.
shucks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
having the courage to go, oh, okay, I just did that with a friend. Oh man. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's the self-mastery. That's where that work is. And then as we start to do that work and clear stuff out, now we begin to walk as a master.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, in closing,
Yeah.
what I would want to say is, because I loved your questions, about, okay, so how do we do this, right? And I would, ask everyone to get a sheet of paper. Don't use your laptop or computer or
Hmm.
phone. Get a sheet of paper and something to write with. And one of the things that you can write down is, what is ready to be healed in my life?
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
Or who is asking for my forgiveness?
Yes.
Where do I need to ask for forgiveness?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got to tell you, these questions sound easy, but they're not, because there has to be a willingness to do that. And here's the thing, there will be some pushback, which is that little small self going, we're not doing this, right?
Yep.
And here's one more thing, and then we'll be done, is that the ego is not to be crushed. It's not to be pushed away or squashed or killed or gotten rid of, because the ego is a very important part of who we are. It just
Mm-hmm.
does. Its place is not behind the wheel, driving the bus. Because for me,
Yeah.
the ego is this two-year-old child that can't even look over the wheel, and it's driving the bus right into the wall because he just can't
Mm-hmm.
see. It wants
Mm-hmm.
what it wants. So we don't want to. We wouldn't want to hurt a two-year-old child. So let's put that child in the back
Yeah.
seat, and then let spirit or let life or let love drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Very
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Another good one, Charin Barone, Reverend Charin Barone.
Thank you.
Ah. So, everybody, we again want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Eugene Holden's Academy of Self Mastery. Yeah, but I want to say this, be a friend, tell a friend, share it with a friend. Much love and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Peace and
Peace
blessings.
and blessings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.